So, welcome, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us for another wisdom talk. This week, our theme is all about listening to your body. It's something that sounds simple on the surface, but it's often one of the hardest things we truly have to do in a fast-paced and overstimulated world. And our bodies are constantly speaking to us, whether it's through our energy levels, our digestion, emotions, or even the way we breathe or sleep. But many of us forget how to listen. So tonight, we're going to be exploring how we can reconnect with the body's innate intelligence so that we can live more in sync with our natural rhythms. And to help guide us through this conversation, I'm very, very pleased to say we're joined by a special guest and a friend of mine, Niti. She's an Ayurvedic practitioner, and her path has taken her from Australia to India and now here in the UK. And after she graduated from uni, Niti traveled to South India, where she studied at Vedigrama, which is, I think I pronounced that right, Vedigrama, one of the world's most respected Ayurvedic healing villages. And at this place, she immersed herself in the timeless teachings of Ayurveda under the guidance of Dr. Ramdas. And she learned not just the theory, but also living the daily wisdom of how the body, mind, and spirit are deeply connected. Back in Australia, Niti joined Back to Health, which was one of Brisbane's leading Ayurvedic clinics, and she began sharing her passion for Ayurveda through workshops, cooking demos, community events. She's making Ayurveda really approachable, practical, and empowering for modern life. If you haven't followed her or if you don't follow her on Instagram, check out her Instagram page. She's always sharing wonderful tips on Ayurveda, brilliant lifestyle tips, also some really nice recipes, which I've bookmarked. Nidhi's now living in England and in Crawley, and she continues to share ancient wisdom with the community there online and at the Bhakti Yoga Centre in Crawley. And we're really, really lucky to have her with us tonight. So please give a warm welcome to Niti.
Thank you, Sajan. I'm really excited to be here and having this conversation. So I guess before we begin, we'll do a little Mangala Charanam. Just two prayers that invoke the blessings of all of our previous teachers, because any of this wisdom, whether it's Ayurveda, whether it's the Vedas, Bhakti Yoga, it's all been passed down to us. It's not my own knowledge. I'm not making it up. I'm just like a beacon. So if you would like to join me, close your eyes, fold your palms, and just take in the sound vibrations. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namami Dhanvantarimadhidevam Surasurairvanditapadapadmam Loke Jararugбhayamrityunasham Dhatharamisham Vividoshadinam. So that first verse, I think you've recited many times in your wisdom talks. It's just asking for the blessings of the spiritual teachers, because it's by their grace that our darkened eyes are opened by the torchlight of knowledge. And the second verse is in praise of God, Lord Dhanvantari, the god of medicine. And he treats the demons and the demigods alike. And he's able to vanquish suffering, diseases, ailment. And as a practitioner, as anyone that's in the healing modality, you can pray to him to alleviate suffering and help humanity.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for sharing that, Dee. It's so nice to have you back as well, because we were discussing this earlier. It's your fourth wisdom talk with us. And we love having you on, and it's always nice to explore Ayurveda. And it's amazing like how vast and expansive Ayurveda is as well, that each time we converse, we're always looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
So just before we dive into it, just give us a little bit of a background on your journey with Ayurveda and also how that links into tonight's theme, just for anyone who might be joining for the first time.
So Ayurveda, the more you start studying, the more you realize how little you know. And I don't want that to put anyone off studying Ayurveda. But what I've realized is at its essence, Ayurveda, very similar to the teachings of the Vedas, is about three things. So the Vedas teach us that the main things we should recognize, well, we should try to introspect and learn is our nature as a soul, who God is, and our relationship with God. In the same way, this is kind of my own spin on how I view Ayurveda. It's about understanding yourself as an individual, mind, body, and spirit. It's about understanding nature, and then it's understanding how we work with nature. It's very, very simple. Sometimes we try to overcomplicate things, but at its essence, that's why I suggested today's topic. At its essence, Ayurveda is about living in harmony with nature. And the way we can do that is becoming more attuned with our own body, listening to your own body.
So in Ayurveda, what does listening to your body, does it have a different meaning? Like, what does it mean? Does it differ from the more, I suppose, Western familiar idea of having like the mind-body connection?
It's very simple and very practical. See, my aim, you mentioned I have an Instagram account. My aim is to simplify Ayurveda. Whenever you Google Ayurveda, everyone starts talking about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, this dosha, your Agni. I don't want to always use those words because for someone who's never come across Ayurveda, it can just seem like jargon. So when you talk about listening to your body, again, it's not that there's a text in Ayurveda that says, this is how you listen to your body, but you try and interpret some of the essential teachings of the text and relate it to a modern concept. So one of those teachings that I was really fascinated about is that there are 14 urges of the body, and Ayurveda says you should not encourage nor suppress them, because doing so repeatedly over a long period of time will lead to ill health. Now, these 14 urges are very simple. We experience them on a daily, on a weekly basis. I'll quickly run through them so you can see how simple they are. And when I read them, I understood that this is a really simple way that we can practically listen to our body. Because sometimes listening to our body seems really vague, and it's like, oh, listen to your body, put your hand on your chest, and it's not like that. It's solid, it's practical. So the first urge is the urge to pass wind, right? It's farting. We like
Sorry. No,
there's a really funny meme, and it's got like cartoon figures sitting in like a lotus position, and it says, don't hold your farts in, because that's where certain ideas from the brain come. I won't say it because I wanna,
Yeah.
be true to the teachings of the Vedas, but basically,
the talk tone.
passing wind is normal. What's not normal is that when it smells. I remember when I was younger, and I would pass wind and it would smell. My mum would say that your stomach's not clean. That's a sign that you need to work on your digestion. So the urge to pass wind, don't hold it in, right? The urge to cough. Sometimes we think like, oh, it's not polite. It's going to disturb a concert. It's going to disturb the meeting. No, coughing is your body's way that you need to clear your airways. You need to improve your lung capacity. You need to allow that flow of prana through you. So second is cough. Third is the urge to pass stool. Yeah, there we go. Cough away, Sergeant.
That was induced. The first one wasn't induced, so I didn't fart. So
that's okay. The third is the urge to pass stool. Now, I always say babies are the healthiest human beings, because whenever they have any of these urges, they just respond to them. They don't encourage them, they don't suppress them. But we grow up, oh, I don't have time to go to the toilet now. A lot of children, even a lot of adults, they don't go to the toilet to pass stool, because if they're in the office and there are other people around them, it's not polite. They're worried about what other people think. If this is a sign your body is telling you to evacuate wastes, you should just go for it, right? The urge, in the same way, the urge to pass urine. It's nature's call for a reason. If you don't respond to nature's call, soon, nature will stop calling. There's a beautiful quote that if you don't listen to your body when it whispers, you'll have to hear it when it screams.
I love that. If you don't listen to nature's call, soon it will stop calling. Wow.
So all of these urges, when you suppress them repeatedly over a period of time, they lead to different complications in your health. Like suppressing the urge to pass stool. If your body's telling you to get rid of it, but you're holding it in, it's going to impact your digestive system in the long term. Right? The urge to burp. Burping is normal. In many cultures, it's seen as a sign that you enjoyed the meal. It's also a way that your body's telling you, that's enough. You kind of eaten enough. The urge to sneeze. A lot of people I know, they're just very, don't mind me. They're very British about the way they sneeze. They'll just be like, "Achoo. That's not a sneeze. Just sneeze." Like, you just let it out.
My dad's sneeze is like a homing beacon. Like if you've locked him in a shop and you hear the sneeze, you know exactly like what aisle he's on.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very Indian way of sneezing.
The urge to breathe heavily. Sometimes when we're doing a lot of exercise and you have that urge to breathe heavily, do it. The urge to yawn. Again, it's a sign that your body's telling you you need more oxygen. You also need to sleep.
Mm.
The urge to cry. This is also related very much to psychological well-being. If you don't allow yourself to cry, emotional well-being, you're suppressing that emotion.
Yeah,
You're suppressing whatever grief, trauma you're experiencing, and that expression of that grief or the
yeah,
expression
yeah,
of that trauma. The urge to vomit. Sometimes you need to vomit. I know sometimes in India, when it's really hot or someone has a really bad headache, they'll vomit and immediately they'll feel better. Because it's a sign
oh,
you're getting rid of a lot of heat from the body. Even in Ayurveda, one of the purificatory treatments of
yeah.
panchakarma is
Virechan.
vamana,
Is it
and it's
Virechan?
vomiting therapy.
Is it called Virechan or
Virechan is a different one. It's purgation, but vamana is the vomiting therapy.
okay?
And this is only done under the guidance of an Ayurvedic doctor. You can't do it at home. It's not self-induced because they know exactly what herbs to prescribe you. They know how many times you should vomit. They know what to look for when to give you the herb to stop it, right? The urge to eat, the urge to drink. They're two ones that we suppress on a regular basis. We don't listen to our appetite. We don't eat when we're hungry. We eat because I should eat now because I'm not going to get time later. We don't
Mm,
eat now because I'm in a meeting, I'm in a rush. Same, the urge to drink. I remember when I was studying in Vaidyagram, I had just done nutrition at university, Western nutrition. And they'll tell you, you need to have 2 liters of water today. So I asked my teacher in Vaidyagram, so how much water, had my notebook ready. How much water does it say that we should drink in Ayurveda? And he goes, drink when you're thirsty. And I was like, oh, that's so simple. But we want to complicate things. We want to put a number on everything. That these are my macros. This is what I need to achieve. Drink when
yeah,
you're thirsty, eat when you're hungry. And the last two, the urge to sleep, which we push back on a regular basis because I'll just watch one more episode. These devices,
yeah.
keep us up all night. And lastly, the urge to ejaculate. So that's something that it should be not encouraged nor suppressed, but allowed to come at the right time.
Right. Is there somewhere we can access a list of these 14? If you'd
Um,
be able to, maybe you can find a way to share them with us afterwards or
yeah,
something.
I did a post a while ago on Instagram about them. What I can do is
Okay, I'll find it. I'll find it, and
I'll send that link to you, and then you can share that in your
I'll share
group.
it out. Yeah, yeah, that would be good because it's just great to have it there as a
So
reference.
and that's a little like a nice checklist of how I can listen to my body. Am I allowing myself to express all of these urges, right? Am
Yeah,
I allowing them to happen naturally, or am I suppressing them?
yeah. So those are like the bodily cues that we tend to either we tend to suppress or miss, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mm-hmm.
not picking up on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how much of that is also like I think digestion plays
Yeah, so
key
like
role in what we're in how those bodily cues show up because it's linked to a lot of the things you mentioned on the list.
the probably the urge to eat and the urge to pass stool, even the urge to pass wind and um, a belch to burp, they're all related to digestion. And in Ayurveda, digestion is the cornerstone of good health. You have a
Mm.
good gut, you have good digestion, and you have good health. And oftentimes we miss those signs and we only pick it up when it's too far gone. Something as simple as moving your bowels every single day. The
Mm.
number of people who think it's completely normal that they go every second day or every third day. Um, it's completely, you eat every day, you poop every day.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
as
yeah.
simple
Sorry,
as
I
that.
just I
So
was,
what I like to tell people is, how do you know that you have a good digestion, that it's functioning properly? You move your bowels at least once a day. Any wind that is passed, whether it's through your mouth or through your backside, it's odorless. It doesn't smell of the previously eaten meal or doesn't smell foul.
but if you sorry, just to stop you there, if your stool smells foul,
No, stool is different. Stool is
okay,
obviously
okay,
going to smell foul, but your burps or your farts, they shouldn't smell foul.
okay,
Um, you have an appetite. And again, appetite is different for different people. So you might be somebody that gets hungry 3 times a day.
yeah,
I'm someone I can go well on 2 meals a day. That sort of works well for me. You might be a grazer that you get hungry sort of 5 times a day. So once you're kind of back into balance, you can honor those cues from your appetite. When you eat something, you feel satisfied, you feel energetic, and you have clarity of mind,
mm,
right? Um, and generally throughout the day, you have little white coating on your tongue.
okay,
It's normal to get a white coating on your tongue first thing in the morning, and that's why Ayurveda recommends tongue scraping. Yes, to clear out that toxicity. But then throughout the day, you should have, no bad breath and no excessive white coating on the tongue. So they're signs of good digestion.
okay. Feel like checking my tongue now. I don't know what to do. That's great. That's really helpful because I mean like people these days we like you mentioned earlier, people are tracking their macros and their calories and protein shakes and also determining how many meals a day. There are different schools of thought on the 3 meals, or some people say you shouldn't miss breakfast as the most important meal of the day. And now intermittent fasting is like a really big thing. Not, but I suppose that all depends on you as a person, right? As well.
Yes, yes. Everybody will always ask me, what does Ayurveda think of intermittent fasting? What does Ayurveda think of the keto diet? What does Ayurveda think on um, protein? Everybody's right now on this protein bandwagon. Are you having enough protein in your meals?
Mm,
The answer I give is twofold. Firstly, Ayurveda is a completely different way of looking at the world, right? You can't impose an Ayurvedic viewpoint or Ayurvedic school of thought on a completely different concept.
yeah.
It's like comparing apples and oranges. Ayurveda doesn't see the world as proteins, carbohydrates, um, you know, what else? Fats, minerals, vitamins. It doesn't see the world like that. It sees nutrition as 6 tastes, as having
Mm,
6 tastes in every day, within every meal, ideally. That's complete nutrition.
yeah.
So you can't say, oh, this is what Ayurveda says about this. The second thing is that everybody is unique. And that's what Ayurveda stresses, is that listen to your own body. Eat according to your own digestion.
Mm,
Yes, at the beginning, there are certain set of rules and guidelines that if our body is not in balance, it might be giving us the wrong signs. So like, when people say, listen to your body, oh, I feel like eating donuts and a coffee for breakfast, then I should just do it. That's what my body's telling me to do. Let me eat it. So, unfortunately, that's not correct, because when you eat those things, how do you feel afterwards? It's generally,
Yes.
a sugar crash.
Yeah.
You don't feel good. So for a certain time period, you may have to follow certain rules and regulations to bring yourself back on track, to bring your body, mind back into balance, in equilibrium. And
Mm.
then your body will naturally crave that which nourishes and serves it. When your body is off balance, it will crave that which is not nourishing. It will crave that which is actually depleting to the body. But when your body is in balance, your body knows, it's intelligent. We don't need, bears hibernate for 6 months of the year. Animals know what they need to eat. Animals know what to do when they're sick. There's no animal doctor. There's no doctor in the lion kingdom that they all go to when they feel sick. They know instinctively what they should eat and what they should do.
Yeah.
And in the same way, we are the same. We know
Yeah.
what we should do. There's a beautiful line in a really nice Ayurvedic introductory book called Prakriti. And the doctor, he says in it, he goes, he says something, I'm paraphrasing, that no doctor has cured. Nature itself is the cure, like we all know. I'll have to find it for you and read it out to you at the end because it's really beautiful and I'm not doing it justice. But basically, the essence is that we know what we need to do. So when
Yeah.
we're in a state of balance, we'll instinctively crave that which serves us.
Yeah, that's super important actually, because that's a different kind of telltale sign that we're not listening to. It's not really a bodily cue. It's kind of, well, it's a cue from, it's a kind of linked to our urges and desires, and it's a cue of the mind where we crave certain foods, but we know that they're not good for us.
Mm.
But Mehul's asked us a question here. He says asking for a friend, but he's actually also asking for me too, because what do we do if we don't have good digestion, or mine's a bit more. I have like IBS, so I get bloated a lot. That's more of a specific thing. But if someone doesn't have good digestion, then what are some steps that they could take towards
So
having better
if
digestion?
someone has more chronic digestive issues, something like IBS, I would recommend seeking the advice of an Ayurvedic doctor or practitioner, because then you'll be able to get more individualized and tailored advice.
Yeah,
But as a general rule, for someone that doesn't have good digestion, number one, gentle fasting. Now, when I say fasting, it's not crazy intermittent fasting, like that you eat nothing. Just go for a few hours, just sipping hot water, and listen to when your, stomach calls out for hunger from your stomach, not your tongue, not your mind, but you feel that hunger from within.
yeah, that growl.
Yeah, that growl. Try and make sure your meals are all well cooked. Avoid raw foods, well spiced. Doesn't mean chili. It just means, there's so many different spices with different flavor profiles, medicinal properties. Utilize them in your cooking. It should be moist. Our digestive tract, our intestinal tract is a moist environment. When we repeatedly eat dry, cold, rough foods, it dries out that digestive tract. It makes digestion, it makes elimination really difficult. So we want to have more soupy, stewy, well lubricated foods. Well cooked, moist, well spiced, and listen to your digestion. Listen to your hunger.
Well cooked, moist, well spiced, and listen to your digestion with the gentle fasting. Okay, that's super helpful. Thank you. Janita's saying, if I have a lot on my mind, I tend to lose my appetite. I literally have to remind myself to fuel myself. And if I don't know what I want, it can literally feel like eating cardboard. Is that my mind consuming me? And if so, how can I read my body well in such a state?
That's a perfect example of most of the world right now. And perfect example of how mind body are really interconnected.
Mm,
So take a minute to slow down your mind. Why is your mind racing? There are so many different techniques that you can utilize to quieten and go through what's happening in your mind, whether it's meditation, whether
yeah,
it's journaling, whether it's breath work. One of my mentors had this really great idea of, I don't think, I mean, it may not have been hers, but anyway, it was called a brain dump. So everything that's on your mind, you literally get it out on paper. And then what
Um,
she said next is cross out everything which is not in your control. And very quickly, we see a lot of what takes up space in our mind is not in our control, right? So you cross everything off, then you're left with what is in your control. Then categorize it. Okay, this is my health, this is my family, this is my professional life. And then it's a little bit more structured, it's a bit more organized and focused on how I can approach these things. Most of the time, it's chaos in our mind. We just need to learn how to organize it and quieten it. Then once you have little mental chatter, you can focus and be more attuned to what your body is telling you.
that's brilliant advice. It's actually the exact thing that my therapist said to me a week and a half ago. I said, oh, I feel like I'm spinning lots of plates at the moment and my mind's in, and she said, put it on paper and just write everything on a piece of paper, that exactly what you said, put it on a piece of paper and figure out what you can tend to and what is really not in your control. And it
I'll
does.
send you my bill afterwards.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, this is an extension. So that I find is really, really helpful. And um I think not knowing what to eat when you're in that state, it can be a bit of a spiral because you'll end up gearing towards foods which are quick, easy, kind of the empty carbs.
And take one thing at a time. Like today, you've heard me talk a lot about listening to your body, right? But if
Yeah.
you find that your mind is very overpowering and it's just yelling out and you can't really listen to what's happening inside your body, don't worry about your body for the next few weeks. Just focus on your mind.
Mm.
You know, clear that chatter in your mind, clear the chaos and confusion, and then slowly work on your body.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like commit to a veggie food shop, I would say as well, because like you buy these veggies and you're like, oh, I have to do something with them now. Just keep them in the fridge. Because food is getting more and more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, um, isn't well isn't well cooking? Oh, someone's asking.
Cooking veggies remove the
Yeah,
nutrients.
does that remove nutrients if you cooking them, overcook them?
Good point. So in Ayurveda, everything is according to how you can digest it. Food will have the most prana. Prana means the vital energy of the food, and that's the index of freshness. That's the index of nutrients and vitality within Ayurveda. Right? Remember, it's not proteins, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals. The problem is most of our digestions cannot adequately break down raw food and fruit and vegetables, raw food, right? And if your digestion can't break it down, it's of no use to you. The analogy I'll always give is you have an amazing car, and you have an engine of that car, and you've got the best quality oil to put in that engine. But if there's a serious malfunction in the engine, no matter what type of oil I put in, it's not going to be able to work.
Mm.
The same thing with our digestion. We could have the freshest, most organic, biodynamic, local, seasonal, fruit and vegetable available. But if our digestion isn't able to break it down, it's useless. So our digestion cooks the food. So when we cook it on the outside, it makes it easier for our digestion to process it and categorize it as nutrients or waste. So cooking foods may, from a Western viewpoint, diminish the nutrients available, but it makes it easier for our body to digest.
Got it. That's really helpful. Thank you. Arundhati Devidasi is saying, how can we reduce the portion of food when you know you eat more than needed? That's adding fat and carbs in the body. So portion control.
Have a smaller plate. um, Cook a little bit less. It's really difficult. All of this takes practice. Like for me, I find if I'm having like a rice and a dal, generally a quarter cup of uncooked rice and a quarter cup of uncooked lentils is more than enough for one person. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm adding veggies to that plate, I'll reduce the amount of dal and rice I cook. But you have to play around with it. Sometimes I find even I used to run into that problem because we moved from a house of like 8 people to just the two of us. And at first I was cooking so much. And then there'd be a little bit left over, and I would think, oh, let me just finish it now so I don't have to, don't have to worry about leftovers.
Yeah.
That didn't serve me. And so I had to just consciously try to cook a little bit less.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wish there was an easy way to, reduce the portion of food, but that's my 2 cents.
I've just shared your Instagram page in the chat for anyone who wants to have a look because I love what you do with what you're sharing on there. You really are simplifying Ayurveda with the titles of everything and also the recipes that you share. And I love how often you you get creative with whatever you have in the fridge. You do a lot of stuff with leftovers. And another thing I want to talk about is you're quite reactive to timings as well, like with the season change as well. You always offer insights into how we can adapt to the new season. Now we're going into spring, or we're well into spring. Oh, I guess we're at the big start of it now, but what kind of tips would you have for people who are entering spring? How does that work with checking in with your body and also with picking up on the cues and the consumption of food?
It's a really great way of, again, listening into your body. Take a look at what's happening in the environment around you, right? Outside.
Yeah,
Generally, what is happening in the external environment, that is mirrored in our internal environment, right? So in winter, there's an accumulation of this heavy, cold, dense energy. It's now starting to lighten. Days are becoming longer, things are starting to become warmer. You see this like burst of energy outside. Flowers are blooming, tulips are out there, daffodils. There's a smile on everyone's faces. I can hang my clothes outside, that's peak adulting for me. What's available and what your body starts to crave. I don't want to have so many soups and like stews and khichdi anymore. My body's craving something a little bit lighter. So listen to that, add more leafy greens into your diet, add more bitter foods into your diet. Winter is the time to eat a little bit more. Your digestive fire is stronger in winter. And so that warrants all of the comfort foods that we're used to in the cold season, right? Like pies, mac and cheese, creamy dishes, you name it. But as the sun starts to get stronger, our digestive fire diminishes. And you'll notice that in summer, you have a very low appetite. You don't feel like eating anything. You want light food, salads. Yeah. So more leafy greens,
okay.
more bitter foods, move more, right? Winter is the time of hibernation. Animals are like retreating inwards. We also feel like doing that. It's a time for rest, reflection, introspection. But as the sun emerges, so do we. Use that time to get moving, do a little bit more intense or vigorous exercise, start new projects. People think that like New Year, January 1st, it should be New Year's resolution. But that's really counterintuitive to what the seasons are telling us.
Yeah,
I have no intention and no motivation to do a detox on January 1st. I want to pig out, I want to eat because it's cold outside. My body
yeah,
needs the extra fuel. And if
yeah.
you see in the Vedic calendar, especially in India, a lot of cultures are celebrating their new year now. Springtime, Ugadi, Gudi Padwa, they all are Indian spring festivals celebrating the harvest, and many different parts of India will celebrate their new year now. So start a new project. Just today, I threw a whole load of clothes, not through, but into the recycling donation bin. Do a spring clean. It's not a marketing gimmick. It makes sense, You want to get rid of that heaviness, that clutter, that accumulation from winter, and start afresh. So deep clean your house a little bit. Yeah, a few different things that you can do to sort of herald spring.
That's great. That's super helpful. Also, it's interesting what you say about the new year, actually. I never thought of it that way. But with the festivals, like there was Baisakhi as well
Yes.
recently. Great, that's super helpful. Couple of questions which I'm going to go through. Just before I do that, this is recorded, so it will be available on our YouTube channel, which you can find on YouTube. Just search Wisdom Talks Think Gita. and there's a playlist of all the past wisdom talks on there. A couple of questions for you that have come in. So the first one is, from an Ayurvedic point of view, what is the best bread to eat?
Again, what suits you the best?
Yeah.
Also, I like to bring in the point about heritage and traditional foods. You know, if you're Italian and you've grown up eating pizza that's, you know, fresh made dough with yeast, and that's what you've had your whole life, that's what suits you.
Mm,
You're Indian and you've grown up eating chapati with whole wheat flour with a little bit of oil or ghee, and that's, you know, what you grew up eating, that's what suits you the best.
mm,
So when you're looking at any type of food, whether it's bread, vegetables, to figure out what suits you, look at what suits your digestion, how does it make you feel?
okay.
And what is, yeah, common to you sort of in a traditional sense in terms of your heritage as well.
Okay.
But in terms of best bread, anything that's homemade, anything with minimal ingredients and least processed is the best bread. So I could say a chapati because it's, you know, just flour, salt, sometimes water, oil, and ghee. Bread has a bit of yeast to it. Sourdough is great as well. Um,
Do you use any specific flours for your chapatis? Like, do you use mixed grain or like a whole?
No. So see, even that mixed grain is, I feel like it's a bit of a marketing gimmick because sometimes we think if I put every healthy ingredient into the meal, it's good for me.
Yeah.
But the digestion is like, again, it's like the engine, it's like a sorting machine. If you burden it with too many different things in the one meal, it has difficulty breaking it down because not everything is digested the same. Some foods take a little bit more time, some foods take a little bit less time. You know, as a general rule, look back to what your ancestors ate. They would eat one grain or millet, like a dal or a lentil, and maybe one or two vegetables, right? In the same way, we try to mix like multi-grain chapatis with multi-grain flour. Just choose one type of flour,
Okay.
whole
That's
wheat
really good.
flour,
That's really
and
good to know.
stick to that. And if you want to experiment with a few different types of flour, there's one available in England. It's called einkorn flour, EINKORN. And it's a very ancient grain of wheat. And in India, it's known as, I think, kapli wheat or kapli wheat. So basically, the type of wheat that we have now is very genetically modified. But these types of wheat, einkorn and kapli, or even spelt, they have the same chromosomal structure as ancient varieties of wheat. They haven't really been
Oh,
processed or genetically modified.
great. That's good to know. I've never heard of einkorn because I've tried making some spelt rotis, and they just don't turn out as soft and
Yeah.
as the ones I'm used to from my childhood. But that's great. Einkorn. Does the do the einkorn ones, is it similar to spelt in terms of
It's probably even less
harder?
soft.
Okay.
But
Okay. Good to know though.
you know, you're better off having that, you know, hot chapatis. Try not to have them like, you know, after
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's good. It was good. That's quite an interesting question to get into, actually. I didn't think we'd get into the world of flowers and breads.
There's
Um,
a there's a little ebook written by an Ayurvedic doctor, and it's called Eat Wheat. And it's arguing the case for wheat because a lot of the world is going gluten free because
yeah,
supposedly gluten free is better for you, but that's not the case. And yeah, he's arguing the case for wheat that we should eat wheat.
that. So it's an ebook. I'll check it out. Eat wheat. Someone is asking a question saying, what if your digestion is so bad with constipation, so bad that the tummy is so distended and in pain? They've been told it could be a protein deficiency. They already eat a lot of cooked veggies, so not sure what to focus on. But the constipation is strange. Do have a few bowel movements a day, but with the CT scan, it showed lots of constipation. It's quite
I
specific.
mean, yeah, it's a very specific question. My advice would be to seek, go get in consultation with an Ayurvedic doctor or practitioner. But even constipation isn't just related to the food that you eat. Um, make sure you're moving regularly. There's many yoga postures that you can do to sort of stimulate and massage your digestive organs, making sure you're well lubricated, which means hydrated in terms of water, but lubricated in terms of enough healthy fats and oils in your body. You don't want to dry yourself out too much on the inside. Also, what are you holding on to? Constipation is like you're holding on to stuff. So not just in your digestion, but even in terms of your experiences. Is there something that you haven't been able to let go? I remember I used to facilitate cleanses in Australia. And on one of the main cleanse days, we used to administer an enema. And I would tell the person before they come in, write down on a piece of paper everything that you want to let go of, right? So it could be habits, it could be something from the past, it could be a grudge, it could be an experience. Write it all down on a piece of paper, fold it up, and give it to me. So I would administer the enema, and then as I left the room, I say, okay, just relax for a bit, and I'm taking this with me. And as you know, they would then go to the bathroom to remove all the waste. I'd obviously throw that piece of paper in a bin. And it's a very metaphorical thing. I'm not saying that just by writing it all down and me taking it away, it's going to go, but it helps you process that what is it that I'm holding on to that I'm not letting go of.
Yeah.
So that could be something else as well.
Okay. Just very specific question on that, but what's your view on enemas? Like, because people get them done as well. Is that
So there's you were talking about virechan,
yeah,
right?
that's
So
what I had. Yeah.
in Ayurveda, there's a type of cleansing called panchakarma. This is something that should always be done under the guidance of a doctor at an Ayurvedic, hospital or
Yeah.
healing facility. So there's a basti, which is enema. So there's two types of enemas in Ayurveda. There's one that is a smaller volume that is administered and that is nourishing enema that you hold onto, you don't eliminate.
Yeah,
There's one
overnight.
that's a much larger volume that you get administered and you have to then go to the bathroom, and that's sort of a detoxing enema. Now, again, this should be given under the guidance of a doctor. I can't just be like, yeah, I'll have one of these. It's not like, nowadays, I also don't agree with people going and like getting an IV with
Yeah.
their vitamins and minerals and like, dose me up.
But
It,
people go and get enemas, like they go and like
it's not right, and especially not a colonic. So Ayurvedic enemas, they have oils and ghee in them because the colon is a moist environment. If you strip it with water, over time that strips away the natural moisture and it makes it a really drying place. So there's a lot of people even take coffee enemas to
yeah.
help move their bowels. And they become addicted to them. They can't move their bowels without taking a coffee enema. That's like the worst thing to do. Even getting colonics, if you want an enema, you need to go to an Ayurvedic doctor. And
Got
if
it.
you need an enema, they will give you one.
Got you. Yeah, because it's part of some people's routines. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, that's great. We covered that. 100%, someone said they agree on that. Is it better to cook in ghee or olive oil?
For cooking, ghee. But if you're using olive oil, like in terms of a salad dressing, not cooking it at a high heat, then olive oil is good. And again, what are you used to? What are your ancestors used to? In many parts of South India, I think ghee is not common. They use a lot of coconut oil because it's very hot there. Coconut oil is cooling. So use what your lineage is familiar with. Use also what's good for the locality that you live in.
Mm. Thank you. Janita's asking, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, would you say the contractions of the body, knowingly or unknowingly, are the cause of digestive issues?
What do you mean by contractions of the body? Like,
I don't know if that's
uh,
linked. I don't know if that's linked to muscular contractions or like tense, like
tenseness, like
tension,
tension
contraction.
in the body. Okay. Tension in the body. Uh, Not 100%. I can't say tension as the body is 100% the cause of, your digestive issues. There could be some correlation, but I can't say exactly they're the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. Okay. we're getting into the final 10, 15 minutes of the session. So I wanted to ask you if someone wanted to start a 2 minute Ayurvedic body check in their morning routine, first thing
Mhm.
in the morning, they're getting up, what questions should they be asking themselves? So you've mentioned some things already, which is like the tongue scraping or digestion, going to the toilet, first thing in the morning or at some point.
So I would say, whether you do it in the morning, whether you do it throughout the day, whether you do it at the end of the day, I like to think of all the different systems of the body. Ask yourself, how is my digestion, right? Maybe it might not be first thing in the morning. It might be sort of during the day. And you can ask yourself, have I emptied my bowels today? Have I felt hungry during the day? Then look at your nervous system. How am I responding to everything? How am I responding to stress? Stress is an inevitable part of everyone's life. We're never going to escape it, but what we can manage is how to better deal with it. Your musculoskeletal system, are there aches or pains in my body? Is there something I need to address? Your circulatory system, am I feeling good sensation everywhere, or do I have cold hands and feet? What else? Cardiovascular system. So just have sort of like a body scan at the main different systems of your body. I would say to begin with, ask yourself about your digestion and your digestive system and your nervous system.
Okay. I like that, thinking of the body in as systems. That's really helpful because a lot of the time, especially when you've got a lot going on in your mind, it's
Yeah,
hard to pick up on those signals. So by structuring it in a way of where are my systems at,
yeah.
super helpful. Thank you.
We like
Uh,
compartmentalizing.
yes, yeah, we do. So we've spoken about uh, the 14 urges of the body that we need to listen to, or the cues. So what cues or what urges would you say that we need to be better at controlling or
I would say more than controlling, responding to,
okay.
right? The urge to pass stool, to pass urine, what eat and sleep. Those four.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we care too much about what other people think, especially when it comes to like going to the toilet. And, I know I've, heard of children that won't go to the toilet all day at school and will wait till they come home because they don't like going at school. Even adults do that. Like I was explaining that you don't want to go in the office because, oh, who would go to the toilet in the office? But if you need to go, you need to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Not something to be ashamed of. Everyone does it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, eat, sleep, and sleep on time.
yeah,
Sleep is a very underrated aspect of healing.
yeah. Um, this is more of a personal question. Maybe you could give me some tips, but I've just started rehearsals for a project, and I'm like in the middle of a really intense rehearsal period, and it's the first week of rehearsals. So for the first 4 days, 3 days, 4 days now, what I've done is for my lunch, I'm just buying a sandwich from the shop and a bag of crisps, and I'm on day 3 or 4 of it now, and I'm just like, I need to stop doing this. I need to. So this, I have a day off. I have a day off on Sunday or Monday. So maybe like, how can I get on top of that? Some meal prep,
Okay,
salad,
so let,
salads at
let,
work.
let, let's break this down. How long do you have in the morning before you leave for work?
I have, I have,
Realistically, don't be idealistic.
yeah, I have about half an hour. Real half an hour. I get up, do a bit of meditation, or like this morning I did about 10 minutes of yoga, just to, like listen, but and then I had breakfast. I packed some snacks, so I made one little plastic box of like some blueberries, fig, and some nuts, and 2 pieces of dark chocolate. That was like my afternoon snack. But the lunch is like ploughman sandwiches and cheese and onion crisps.
Okay, no. Okay. So what you could do is, do you have a pressure cooker?
Don't have a pressure cooker, I have an air fryer.
Mhm.
A small,
I'm just trying to think and be practical.
but I've bought tofu. I've got loads of salad in the fridge, and I was thinking I'd do like
Okay,
not very
okay.
Ayurvedic. I've brought like
No,
prawn slices.
what you could do, you've got half an hour, right?
Yeah,
The night before, you could do you like sweet potato?
yeah, I love sweet potato. Yeah,
So the
yeah.
night before, chop up some sweet potato and marinate in some olive oil and spices. Do the same with tofu. Chop it up, marinate it in olive oil and spices. In the morning, chuck them both in the air fryer. Um, Put some quinoa or rice or any type of grain in a pot so they can be done at the same time. You've got yourself a meal. You can change
Perfect.
up the herbs, spices that you use. You could make a dressing on Sunday,
Yeah,
like a no-cook dressing that sort of sits in your fridge that will last you maybe like 2 days. And you could add that to it. So that's, yeah, one option that I can just think of
perfect.
top of my
Thank
head.
you. I brought like broccoli, tender stems, and all of that stuff, so I could
So
just.
chop it up the night before and have it
Okay,
ready, salted and with the dressing. And so all you have to do in the morning is stick it in the air fryer.
perfect. Super helpful. Thank you. I'm actually going to do that actually when I get off this. I
Send
haven't
me a
got.
photo tomorrow.
No, I don't have the sweet potato in the fridge, but I'll send you a picture of the thing that I've made.
Okay, awesome.
Um, Thank you. Thank you everyone for listening to my Ayurvedic consultation there. We've had a couple more questions. Um, what would you say the amount of sleep that one needs? Obviously, I imagine that depends on your
Yes,
type as well.
it also depends on your body type. But one thing I will say is the hours of sleep before midnight are more powerful than the hours of sleep after midnight,
Yeah. Each
right? So you
hour's
could you
yeah,
could get 6 hours of sleep and it's from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., but that's more potent than sleeping 12 p.m. or a.m. till 6 a.m.
yeah, yeah. Sleep hygiene. It's like a really important thing. We've spoken about it on some wisdom talks before, actually, about how that's really
Sleep, we sleep when the moon is active, and the moon is the healing energy. It's the cooling energy. It's responsible for repair and healing. And so that all happens when we sleep.
got you. How can we understand how much food our body needs?
Eat until you're full, eat until you're energetic, satisfied. Don't overconsume. Some people say when you have that first burp, that's enough. And, do an experiment on yourself. If you feel like maybe you're overeating and you're used to 3 chapatis and a sabji and a dal every day, maybe for the next week, you're going to have 2 chapatis.
Hmm.
See how you feel, see how your body reacts. Do you have the same amount of energy? Or are you feeling like a little bit low and you need like a pick me up between meals? Um, you have to sort of see how your body reacts.
Yeah, and I think you've spoken about this on a previous wisdom talk, which is about engaging your senses in
Yeah.
the eating process. I mean, I'm a victim of this now. It's so easy to eat a meal with a screen on, and that's not. There's a term I think I've read something called mitahar,
Mityahar
mityahar or something, and that's about like engaging all of your senses
in the wrong way, yeah.
in the wrong way. Yeah. Cool. What if you're addicted to the high of fasting? Someone's asked.
Um, I heard yesterday that let me get if I can figure it. So in Bhagavad-gita or in the Vedas, there's two sets of senses. There's the Gyanendriyas, which is the knowledge acquiring senses, which is your eyes, ears, nose, uh, mouth, and sense of touch. And there's the Karmendriyas, which is your working senses, so the ability to walk. I have to figure out, but they're the more physical, active senses. I have to find out which are those 5 ones. But basically, buddhi or intellect powers the gyanendriyas, powers the um, knowledge acquiring senses. But prana, the life air, empowers the working senses. When you fast too much, you diminish the prana in your body,
Okay.
and your working senses aren't able to function as much. Um, Intellect powers your knowledge acquiring senses. When you are addicted to the high of fasting, it can be depleting to the body. And it can deplete those senses that give you that energy, that give you the ability to work in from on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, fasting can cause severe burnout very fast.
Mm. That's really helpful. Thank you. Also, it's nice that we've tied in some wisdom of the Bhagavad-gita. I mean, we've not actually spoken about the Bhagavad-gita.
Well, I actually had two of my favorite verses ready to read
Please,
out in
please.
in terms of, we like to lead by our senses, which unfortunately doesn't serve us. We learn in the Bhagavad Gita that the mind, the intelligence, if we use that to engage the senses in, we will engage our senses in a proper way. But if we are guided simply by our senses, we'll engage in things which don't serve and nourish us. So this is from chapter 2, text 62. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises. Text 63. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So the thing is, don't be led by your senses. Use your intelligence. Use you know what's right for you. We know we shouldn't watch that extra episode of Netflix, yet we don't, we Netflix has, made it so easy for us to we have very little time to press escape. The next episode automatically plays. You've got about 10 seconds before you can hit escape. So you have to withdraw that temptation.
Mm,
So don't be a slave to your senses.
thank you. I think that's a great note for us to wrap on because we've been talking about picking up the cues, listening to your body, but the note of not being a slave to your senses because those are the things that misdirect us. Yeah. Thank you so much, Niti, for coming back on with us. We'd love to have you back again. Maybe in person as well. We have to get you in person in London, Studio 108. We'd love
Have to make the trek out to London. Yes,
You'd
definitely.
have to make the trek. You'd have to make the trek. But you do trips to London from time to time.
Rarely, rarely.
I've seen on Instagram when you do day trips sometimes. Everyone's saying thank you, and they're resonating as well. Hina says thank you. Ruby says fab session. Meenakshi saying amazing, aligning with our intelligence is everything. And Jiva also says thank you. So yeah.
Thank you, Sergeant. It was a really good conversation.
Oh, it was great. It was great. I think they said there's something that you said you wanted to share. What was the ebook? Ebook was Eat Wheat.
Ebook was Eat Wheat, and let me
Yes.
just see if I can quickly find. I did a breakdown of the 14 urges. One second.
Eat wheat. Eat wheat.
Eat Wheat by Dr. John Douillard.
Oh
D-O.
yeah, yeah, I found it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can share that in the chat. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. There's so many people who got because I was watching this interview of Mo Salah, he's a famous Liverpool player,
mhm.
and the guy asked him like, "How do you have your six pack? Like, how do you get your abs from?" He's like, "You're not gonna like the answer, but no bread, no pasta." And I was like, "Oh, okay,
No joy.
yeah." I was like, I don't think I can give those things up. But,
Yeah.
okay, eat wheat, fantastic. And you've just shared the Instagram of your
That post on the 14
14 ways your
urges.
body is talking to you. Fantastic. Some people don't have Instagram, but you can still click on that link and see the post
Mhm.
anyway. even if you're not. And I would encourage you to share to follow Niti on Instagram as well. I really love seeing your posts, so keep putting them out there.
Thank you,
A lot of
Sam.
them that have been bookmarked, but I haven't done any of the recipes, so I need to like
We'll
get.
wait for your post tomorrow morning on your lunch that you make.
Yeah, I know the pressure's on now, but I'm gonna get to it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Love the focus on our lineage and how we become accustomed to what we're used to eating. Chapati and rice are staples. Yeah. Thank you for an insightful session. Thank you so much. Thanks, Nidhi.
No
Oh,
problem. Thanks.
Wisdom Talks. What was Wisdom Talks is back next week. The week after on the 29th, we have an open mic or poetry night. Poetry night, spoken word and poetry night at Studio 108. And if you haven't signed up for our retreat, we have a retreat, wonderful retreat coming up in Lincoln in June. I believe it's on the weekend of the 22nd of June. So that's one not to be missed. It's going to be an amazing weekend of meditation, kirtan, meditation music, wonderful food. It's going to be a chance to disconnect from the busy life of day-to-day material activity. So please check that out as well. I'm sharing a link in our chat.
And I'm just going to share one more quote, Sajin. Sorry.
Please.
Somebody asked, I was going to share that quote about Prakriti. One second.
I also believe we have a new course too, which is Bhagavad-gita for beginners. So if you're looking to dive into the wisdom of the Bhagavad-gita in a group environment, and also if you're new to the Bhagavad-gita, it's a great opportunity to join this 5-week course. So please have a look at the link that I've shared in the chat. And there's a courses section on there where you'll be able to get more information on that.
I'm just going to read out that quote.
Please read it.
No doctor since the beginning of time has ever cured a patient, and no doctor ever will. For nature alone can cure. Nature performs the miracles. Doctors need only teach their patients how to tap into nature's wonder working. True physicians offer themselves unceasingly as channels through which nature can work her magic.
Beautiful. I think you summarized that pretty well when you were describing it. But this is I think
It's
this is
much more
perfect.
elegant.
I thought the Bhagavad Gita verses and the note you left us on not on what was it on the senses,
Oh yeah.
not succumbing to the senses or being led by the desires of the senses, but you've dropped a little another golden nugget in right at the end. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, see you all next week.